Inspector General of Police Task Force team intercepts 4 trucks of illegally procured diesel. And on Panorama, focus is on World Environment Day. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on Panorama, reaching you from the Benin Network Center of the NTA. I am Agatha Egwari Ojo. In continuation of its emergency repairs and maintenance of bridges across the country, the federal government has closed a section of the Eko Bridge for 9 weeks. The development is to pathway for the replacement of 3 expansion joints and 4 bearings. The Federal Controller of Works in Lagos State, Olukayode Popola, said work will commence immediately to meet up with the August 13 deadline for delivery. For vehicles coming from the island, diversion point has been erected at Constant down the bridge to Western Avenue. Now, former President Dr. Goodluck Jonathan wants leaders to exhibit some level of sacrifice and be totally committed to be of service to the people. This was when he virtually chaired a session of the first leadership series of the late legal luminary, Sir Alfred Erobamin, with the theme, Nigeria Leadership Vacuum, Too Many Activists, Very Few Reformers. Emergence of credible leaders at local, state and national levels, key players believe, will solve problems that have festered in the country for years. This symposium is therefore to reawaken the consciousness of all Nigerians to begin to do things differently to change the fortunes of the nation.
I'm told the children of farm that that leader is so brave man because they were impressed by my decision to hand over power for my successor in a very peaceful manner. Leadership requires some level of sacrifice, determination, public over private interests, and the desire to be of service to God and humanity. They said that those who plant trees plant not necessarily because it will provide shade for them or for the next generation.
Bishop, Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, Bishop Matthew Kuka, via Zoom, harped on the need to elect leaders that are sensitive to the happenings in the environment.
So that the leader is always in front, identifying, because he already has an idea where this journey is going to end.
There are a lot of issues that we need to resolve for leadership. Because leadership is about being ahead and having vision that will help to galvanize and develop the entire community and the vast majority of people.
He questioned every time he wrote a letter to a public authority and there was no response to that letter. He questioned every time there was a failure to be diligent in work. He would question a public officer and he had a right to see that public officer because you were a servant to the people. So all those qualities that you require for us to take this country to a different level are absent. My father represented it at home.
For panelists, citizens must play their part by deciding to stand against all odds in the society, including selfish gains. The interactive session featured questions and answers on the role of leaders and the led in building a better country. The Special Task Force on Petroleum and Illegal Bunkering, set up by the Inspector General of Police, Usman Al-Khali Baba, has intercepted 4 trucks of illegally procured diesel at Gwagwalada, Kubwa, and Nyanya axis in the Federal Capital Territory. Security correspondent Francis Form reports that the product was concealed with bags of chicken feeds heading towards Niger and Kaduna states. 10 suspects.
Feeds. But in between, inside, is all this package that you've just seen that has been displayed. And we also develop our own tactics of detecting them and getting them arrested. And they made very useful confessions. Some of them are leading us to where they got the product. As per prosecution, anytime the courts resume sitting, our legal department have already concluded all actions on it.
Suspects have so far been arrested in connection with the crime, while the team is on the trail of others. Now, relief materials worth millions of naira have been presented to victims of fire disaster in a community in Mbog local government area of Akwa Ibom State. The relief materials, which is from the State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, was presented by the State Deputy Governor, Moses Ekpo.
The presentation of the relief materials by the state government was in response to the plight caused by fire disaster, which occurred at Utanudombo fishing community in Ibaka, Mbo local government area. The State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, had earlier assessed the effects of the inferno, where over 500 households, mostly fishermen, were affected. Presenting the relief materials for distribution to the victims, the Deputy Governor and Chairman State Emergency Management Agency, Moses Ekpo, regretted the untold hardship the inferno has caused the victims. While calling for peaceful coexistence among communities in the state, especially those constantly facing natural disaster, the Deputy Governor also stated that the state is expecting positive response from NEMA since the incidents had officially been reported to them.
So when there is a disaster, many people get involved, but others are not involved. I joined the chairman to make sure that it is distributed to reach the people who are actually involved, so that the reprieve can be necessary and meaningful.
Responding on behalf of the victims, Chairman Mbo local government area, Mr. Asukwoyo, expressed appreciation to the state government for responding to the plight of the people.
We promise that these relief materials will be shared to the direct victims who were affected in the fire inferno.
Some of the relief materials distributed include bundles of roofing sheets, bundles of fishing nets, and clothing, among others. In Uyo, Charity James, NTA News.
To matters of the environment now, the understanding is that only with health ecosystems can the world enhance people's livelihoods, counteract climate change, and stop the collapse of biodiversity has led to the launch of the United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. This is in commemorating World Environment Day 2021, which is an ideal opportunity to bring the immense potentials of and opportunities related to ecosystem restoration to the forefront. Onenge Fineface now reports.
Today is the beginning of a time that we go out there and heal this earth.
It's World Environment Day again, and the launch of the United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restoration, a decade to leverage available opportunities to heal the earth, build back better from the COVID-19 pandemic, commence the transition to green energy and economy.
By restoring ecosystems, we can drive a transformation that will contribute to the achievement of all the Sustainable Development Goals. The task is monumental. We need to replant and protect our forests. We need to clean up our rivers and seas, and we need to green our cities.
World leaders are pushing for climate action in the decade of restoration to scale response through net zero emission and increased ambitions in the nationally determined contribution and the seas of nations.
Restoration enhances the resilience of ecosystems to climate impacts. Restoration has considerable mitigation potential, as well by sequestering carbon in trees, shrubs, and soils.
The science is clear. We have 1 decade to address climate change, to end biodiversity loss, and to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals.
World Environment Day 2021 is therefore an opportunity to reimagine, recreate, and restore the lost flora and fauna of the earth. Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
Heavy rainfall being experienced in Benin City has raised concerns over conditions of drainage systems in Benin metropolis. Judah Bugu monitored aftermath of midnight downpour and reports that some major roads were flooded due to blocked drainage channels.
Whenever it rains, these 2 service lanes along the Lagos-Uselu Road up to Ogbawa get flooded. This makes it difficult for residents and motorists to access the area. After every rainfall, water remains on the roads for more than 3 hours, making people to suspect it could be a structural defect. Further down the road, NTA crew, however, discovered that drainage in the area are blocked. The situation was the same at 5 Junction and Lagos Street by Urban Market. Behind me is the Lagos Street by Urban Market, Benin City. And just like the Lagos Uselu Road, the traders and their customers are now forced to walk through this stagnant water before they can access their shops or where they want to make their purchases. Some of them have expressed displeasure over the situation of this road.
I've been to this place several times, but I've not experienced this kind of watering gathering on the road, and this is not good for business. Many people will see they will turn back. Government should try and do something to settle this rain stuff.
When the crew visited the State Ministry of Environment, the permanent secretary was not on seat to respond to the issues. However, an official of the ministry who spoke off camera informed the crew that the ministry has commenced the setting of drainage systems at Ogbawa area and other parts of the metropolis. In Benin, Jude Abugu, NTA News.
And to discuss more on issues of flooding and environment generally is the Benin Liaison Officers Center for Atmospheric Research, National Space Agency, and also Edo State Air Quality Monitoring Group, Mr. Alex Urupi. Good afternoon. Welcome to Panorama. All right. Now, report available indicates that many states and communities in Nigeria will be under flood this year. Could you perhaps enlighten us more on the implications of this?
Yes, and we have observed that in recent years we have the climate change effects in our cities, and also urbanization also contributed to part of it. And if you also watch Benin carefully, Benin is, you have moats. Moats are part of natural control of flooding. Now, most people built on all those moats, and by then you will now experience more accumulation of floods. Rather than movement, it will now be stagnant. Now, this high level of rainfall, which has been announced by NIMET, you're going to affect the socio-economic activities of the state. Now, the people have to prepare ahead by way of trying to plan ahead of your activities every day. So people moving around with maybe umbrella and all that, and plan your activities as swift as possible to ensure that it doesn't disrupt whatever you have at that particular day.
Okay, for people in flood-prone areas that are prone to flood, what are they expected to do early enough to mitigate the impending disaster?
Yes, we have always advised that people should cooperate with the government, so that the effort made by the government, it will be supported by the people. Now you see a situation whereby people still dump waste on the drainages. How can you have a smooth ride of the rain when you block the drainages? And those areas, those activities are the one affecting the flood in the city. Now the people are encouraged that you should stop dumping waste on the drainage. You have already a well-organized waste disposal system, and you should follow the crew of that kind of standard, not dumping it, wake up, you dump it. So many people use night movement, using it to block the channels. And at the end, do you now want somebody else to come and remove the water, the flood? Honestly, no. You must have to follow the system. It's a natural phenomenon in which we need to manage it. Nobody will tell you that it will just come from somewhere and remove everything once. No, it's a system. We must obey that system, by which that our waste must be properly managed in order to have peace in our environment in relation to this flooding. Okay,
but where does government come in all of this in terms of managing flood?
Yes, the government is trying its efforts to ensure that if you look at Ugbawa area now, I think about a few days now, they have been removing the debris in the channels to ease, especially in the Adolo area and close to the coastal and all that. They are doing their best, but the people have to ensure that they join the government effort, because only government alone cannot solve erosion issue in the whole world. No government can solve strictly erosion issue. The people must be involved. They must involve to support the government. By way exactly what I have said just now, that they must ensure the proper disposal of waste so that to support the government efforts. And even the other areas is that the people that are involved, especially the waste management, they should ensure they are properly disposed, because most times they end up even putting in a place where that could affect the free movement of the flood. Okay. And at the end of the day, you have issues with managing the environment, and it will destroy the residential homes. But what you do is that by the time you follow a system of waste management, you discover that you will not have any issue, because the area government that have been addressed by government will end up posing a problem. That's why you see every year you have erosion issues in most of our cities.
Okay, all right, thank you so much, Mr. Alex Urupi, Benin Liaison Officer, Center for Atmospheric Research, National Space Agency. Thank you so much for coming on Panorama.
Thank you, ma'am.
We'll take a short break now. Panorama continues in just a moment. Stay with us.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country free of coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
For staying on. Now, Governor Godwin Obaseki of Edo State says his administration will simplify the tax system in the state to encourage more people to pay tax. This is as he has also promised to strengthen and improve existing laws to improve the economy of the state. He was addressing artisans at the stakeholders' engagement of the Edo State Transition Committee. Elizabeth Omoko reports.
Seated in this hall are members of the Benin Commerce and Commerce industry, barbers, vulcanizers, fashion designers, furniture makers, stylists, plumbers, welders, and traders. They are at the government house at the instance of the state government to interact and brainstorm on possible areas that government will focus more to make life better for them.
But there's something wrong with the system. I've sent a text message to the Senate of the government. Is the corruption, to making sure that government money gets to government.
To surprise you that for 2 years now the organizers run this, they will not pay tax. Why? I put the hold on it. When I discovered a cabal and cartel wanting to collect money directly without paying to government revenue.
Governor Obaseki reiterated the commitment of his administration to building a formidable tax system, address all forms of corruption in the sector for the good of the people.
So for us, it is about service. How do we make life better? Our joy is to see your businesses grow and thrive. We can make government work. In the past, government worked. So government needs to work. If government does not work, we'll find ourselves in the situation we are today.
The governor is calling on the people of the state to ensure that they key into the task processes for more human and capital development. In Benin, Elizabeth Amako, NTA News.
Now, the support and contribution of the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA, to the development of broadcasting organizations of Nigeria, BON, have been rewarded with a special recognition award by the umbrella body for broadcast outfits in Nigeria. This was at the 2021 Gala Night and Award organized by BON. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday has details.
All parts of the country, these media practitioners, serving and retired, gathered in Abuja for the 74th General Assembly of the organization, after which they converged for the gala nights. The event became a time for members to reunite and also wine and dine. One after the other, their dedication and service to the organization over the years were rewarded.
Your distinguished and meritorious service.
Director General of the NTA, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, was on stage twice for personal and organizational recognitions. Former Directors General of the NTA, Shola Omole, Philip Ofegbu, and Mohammed Ibrahim, who was represented by his son, as well as pioneer chairman of BON, Director General of Voice of Nigeria, Osita Okechukwu, also bagged the former chairman of BON Award.
The whole essence is to motivate people to service, to encourage those who have served, to always show people that there's a reward for service.
Former DG of the NTA, Shola Omole, says the resuscitation of the election debates will further strengthen the nation's democracy.
So that the people of this country have the opportunity of listening, sifting the wheat from the chaff, making informed, deductive decisions.
There were also posthumous awards for some leaders of the organization who stood out during their time. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
Our President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed optimism that the position Nigeria occupies in the Council of Federation of International Football Association, FIFA, will provide tremendous benefits critical to the advancement of football in Nigeria and across the African continent. While granting audience to the President, Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, and member FIFA Council, Amaju Pinnick, the President announced that a new business model for sports development in the country will soon be unveiled. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The Nigeria Football Federation President Amaju Pinnick, led to the State House by Youth and Sports Minister Sunday Dare, is the third Nigerian to secure the position of FIFA Council membership. The position, President Buhari said, comes at a time the federal government is committed to turning around the fortunes of sports through better infrastructure, more government incentives, as well as public and private sector investments.
This is why we have reclassified sports from mere recreation to business. A new business model for Nigerian sports development will soon be ready. I look forward to it coming to Federal Executive Council. I believe in the potential of sports to promote peace, unity, enhance good health, and promote economy.
While congratulating Amaju Pinnick on his election victory, President Buhari believes that the NFF president is now appropriately positioned to bring international context to the development of football in Nigeria, and therefore the need to use the position towards attracting a global boost to Nigeria's sporting image.
One of the greatest sports is football, and Nigeria is a great football nation. I am myself a keen follower of football, not player. Therefore, I want to see Nigeria's football develop and move in a more dynamic trajectory. Nigeria also needs a more privatized and better organized football regime that can rival others in Europe and America. The Nigeria Football Federation must therefore work with the Sports Ministry and football stakeholders to provide Nigeria with a 10-year football master plan. This will be in line with FIFA's commitment to youth football development.
The president urged corporate organizations to invest in Nigeria's sports development, especially football, towards keeping the nation's youth busy and making the country a great sporting nation. Both the sports minister, Sunday Dare, and the NFF president, Amaju Pinnick, thanked President Buhari for his support for sports development in the country, without which they say Nigeria wouldn't have been elected into the FIFA Council.
Mr. President, I can also tell you clearly that because I was elected, another Nigerian was also re-elected into the FIFA Ethics Committee, which is a matter of your anti-corruption. She is the only African in that committee. It goes enough to show that there's so much confidence in your fight against corruption.
We look forward to a time very soon when you will graciously approve an annual event to decorate on an annual basis worthy sportsmen and women who go out there, give us podium performance, and bring glory to our country in international competitions, that they will be considered for national awards annually. This will encourage them and fuel the spirit of our youth.
The president of the Nigeria Football Federation, Amaju Pinnick in particular, pledged to be a worthy ambassador of Nigeria in the Council of the World Football Governing Body. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And that ends Panorama from the Benin Network Center of the NTA. Thank you for watching. Remember, NTA stands firm against rape and rapists. Be a part of the fight and have a pleasant day. Good afternoon.